So, how's the remodel going?
Oh my gosh, where do I start? My contractor is amazing. He's made the whole process so easy on me. It's like I've always said, it pays to look for the seal. Ladies, I am not kidding. I always look for the seal.
Oh, I know you do. I do too.
Me too.
That's the truth. When we bought our car, we looked for the seal. When we were searching for daycares, we looked for the seal. I won't even buy shoes online unless I see the seal.
The BBB makes my life easier because I know I can always trust BBB accredited businesses. That's why I always look for the seal.
Hello Cleveland, my name is Errol Porter and welcome to TV 20. Of course, this is Consumer Trends brought to you by the City of Cleveland, Department of Community Development, Office of Fair Housing and Consumer Affairs, and this is Consumer Trends, and we are showcasing best practices as citizens invest in goods and services here in our community. Today we're looking at tips and best practices when you hire someone for any needs you have around your home. This is the season when we are thinking about getting repairs and making improvements on our homes and businesses. We will share how and when you select a contractor for services. We also have a representative from our Building and Housing Department who will guide us on pulling permits for work for hire when they are required and when they are not. We have today Joshua Bias, who is a member of the Office of Fair Housing and Consumer Affairs in Cleveland's Consumers Council. He is educated in technology and design analysis and is currently in business with a landscaping and home improvement company that works with an organized group of professionals working to improve the community one home at a time. Welcome, Joshua Bias. You sound a whole lot smarter than me. I'm going to tell you that much. All right?
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is the season when our homeowners are looking to take on projects around the home, both inside and out. Some of the projects might be handyman type, do-it-yourself, or some may require professional help. Now, tell me real quick. When I'm doing that, when I'm looking at my home and I want to say, hey, there's a deck. I think I can do that myself, or should I hire someone? How should I make that decision?
I would say one of the most important things is to do as much background information as you can. You don't want to rush it too much. There's a lot of valuable resources in with your friends and family who may have had similar work done. And then also there's a lot of places that you can check on the internet. YouTube videos that kind of give you, for some of your smaller projects, they might give you some tips and tricks, or your hardware stores. They also have different seminars and educational things, but education is the key. Educating yourself on the project and knowing exactly what your end result is that you want to produce at the end there. So.
Now, are you one of those do-it-yourself guys? Or
oh yeah, I love doing it. I'm married. My wife Carlicia, hello. I always take on a lot of projects around the house, but when it's time to call a professional, on some specific things, you do want to call them in and get their expert opinion about which direction to go.
When you want to walk around the house with your chest stuck out, you're going to try to do it yourself, right? But sometimes that does not happen. What are some of the common mistakes that are made by some of our consumers when we are trying to do a home improvement project?
Well, I would say one of the biggest things when you're doing a home improvement project, like I said, you want to be educated on what you want to do. And then a lot of times you're going to want to, when you do want to call in a contractor to do something, you don't want to feel too rushed in the situation. You want to take your time and find multiple bids, talk to several different people and get some different views. You want to, you're looking to find a contractor, you want to find someone that you can communicate well with, and someone that's very relatable to you. And just make sure that you're covered. There are some risks there, some safety issues. You want to make sure that things are done safely and that you get the end result that you want.
And what about that guy who just randomly comes to my door and looks at my house and say, hey, he needs some work done, and just comes up to my door just offering special deals or telling me what he can do? What should I look into about this guy?
I would really caution against some of those guys that are going door to door. I mean, you really want a good reference point. You could take his information and maybe he notices some things that you may need improvement on, but it's always best to double check behind him. You don't need to sign anything right away. Like I said, this is not getting a cup of coffee at Starbucks. This is something that for your home, something that you have to come home to every day, that you want to enjoy that space that you have at your home. So like I said, you want to take your time, do your research, get the information, you know, and always come away, you know, if you're going into any kind of work like that with a contractor, you want to get something on paper. You got to get a contract. It's a must-have. It's 2015. We have the technology, and you want to get something on paper that protects you and him moving forward through that project.
Now, it's a good idea to make sure he brings some people that maybe we can call to verify work that he has done or something like that?
Right. A lot of times you can ask openly for references. Also, they may have some type of Facebook or Google Plus where they may have some albums or pictures that they're able to show you. But you want to do that due diligence and go in there and check those references and make those calls. Take the time to do that research, because you don't want to end up with the regrets at the end of the job. Or unfortunately, sometimes you may be losing a lot of money. You know, a large project that you saved up for. You want to make sure that that money is being used effectively for exactly what you want to get in the end. So check those references. Like I said, check up on the work. You know, and any hesitation from the contractor, you want to build a relationship. You don't want to just a bang bang. Let's just get this done real quick for you. I want to build a relationship with you, feel comfortable with you, and get to know exactly what your likes and dislikes might be.
Now, would the city have a database of some of these contractors on hand that you all may actually know at a reputation, or have they been reported to you guys, or for good or bad reasons?
Yeah, you can check the BBB, of course, the Office of Fair Housing. You can always call them to make sure that these guys are licensed, bonded, or insured. And you can talk directly to the contractor, you know, and let him know that if he does inform you that he's insured, licensed, and bonded, check the paperwork. You have every right to ask him for copies of the documentation, copies of his insurance, and, you know, all those things that help keep you protected.
Right. Absolutely.
And the city of Cleveland is definitely here on your side. Like I mentioned, the Office of Fair Housing is a good place to start, in the BBB.
Right. That's a good thing. Always try to get some kind of paper trail, like you said, make sure contracts, written contracts, something that guarantees the work that they're going to be doing, right?
Right. Okay. You want to protect yourself. And like you had mentioned earlier about if you want to do something on your own, you just have to measure that level of risk that you're willing to take. You know, sometimes if you have a small enough project, maybe that friendly handyman could help you out and give you a nice, you know, bit of advice of which way to go. But on larger projects, when you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars, you really have to keep yourself protected and make sure that you're dealing with someone that has integrity, that's looking out for your best interests.
Have you taken on any big projects at your home?
At my home?
Yeah.
Oh yes. When we first came to Cleveland, our house was purchased in foreclosure. We were able to purchase the home and then reinvest, you know, totally renovate the house and everything. So, yeah, we take on projects all the time around the house.
So when I'm walking through your home and I'm looking around, which part are you pointing out? I did that.
Well, being a total renovation, with a lot of helpful suggestions from my wife, we were able to just pretty much redo the whole house. You know, new painting, new floors, and everything like that. So I do have some albums and things that I'm proud to show my clients of new spaces that we're able to renovate all through the house. So it's a total redo.
Now, right now, your business is actually what kind of business is it?
Twin Brother Construction, and we work here in Cleveland. We're a landscaping and home improvement company, and we really just operate, just really trying to help people build a relationship with someone, because there's a lot of contractors out there that give contractors a bad name, and we're just trying to change that trend of the mistrust that you may find in certain contractors. There's a lot of good contractors out there, and that's why I stress, you know, if there's any uneasiness with your contractor, you know, hit the internet, hit your friends, hit your family, and let them know that you're looking. And when you do find that good contractor, spread the word. And that's, you know, been helpful with my business. I really blessed to be at a point where, you know, I don't advertise as much, because I stand behind the work that I do, and then by word of mouth. That's one of the best things, is to have a friend that can transfer that trust that they have in a contractor to you. Absolutely. It's one thing you say to worry about out there, so you won't worry. They're here to help you guys when that comes time, because this is that season. Yes. It's about to get nice. People are going to try to build pools and
patio decks and everything else.
Right.
You want to protect yourself. You want to get the job done right the first time. Not only getting it done right and not being ripped off, let's talk about safety and how, you know, you have to follow some type of guidelines when doing this. So do your homework,
Right.
like you said.
Right, and then when you get into your electrical, plumbing work, you've got to make sure that those contractors are licensed, bonded and insured, and then pull in the proper permits that are required for those jobs, going down to the city. And you want to be cautious, you know, if you know, a contractor may suggest, you know, just go ahead and get a homeowner's permit to kind of circumvent the system. Those are some of the things that you want to kind of look out for to say, you know, maybe this guy is not, you know, on the up and up. So you want to go through those permits, make sure everything's protected and done properly, and with the proper inspections all the way through.
All right, we want to thank you so much, Joshua, for bringing some of that great information to us and get us prepared for the spring and summer projects that we're all going to divulge ourselves in, especially myself. I'm building something.
All right.
You know, all right, I'll take a picture of it and send it to you, and we can kind of compare, all right?
Appreciate you.
All right, thank you so much. So once again, everyone out there, we're trying to keep you safe, make sure we protect your pockets and protect your homes. And when we come back, we're going to talk about something very important, and that is building and project permits. When are they required? When should we pull them? What are they needed for? And the importance of having them filed downtown with the city of Cleveland. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on Consumer Trends. This is TV 20. We are Cleveland.
This is why you took a second job. While you taught yourself how to fix the plumbing. While you'll do whatever it takes to keep your home. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. Call 888-995-HOPE today.
Hey, welcome back to the City of Cleveland TV 20. You are tuned into Consumer Trends. Once again, I am Errol Porter. From the City of Cleveland Department of Building and Housing, we have joining us Commissioner Thomas Vanover. How's it going today?
Going well. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you joining us and giving us some great information. It's that time of year, like we said, spring and summer, when people are trying to get work done on their homes. And I'm going to ask you right off the bat, what is a permit for? When people mention permits, most people have no clue. Why do you need permits?
Well, permits are anytime you're doing work on the interior or exterior of your home, you're going to want to get a permit from the city. And that's for most work. There's some minor painting and repairs that don't require a permit, but for the most part, anything medium or major you're going to do in your home, you're going to want to require a permit from the city. What that does is you submit to us what you are planning to do, how you're planning to do it, and the City of Cleveland Building Department, we review it, make sure that it meets the code, and then ultimately we'll issue a permit for the work to be done. Anytime you're paying somebody to do anything on your home, you should be securing a permit, because what that does is it buys you the expertise from the City of Cleveland Building Department, from our inspectors, from our plan reviewers, and then ultimately from the City of Cleveland Law Department. When people, you know, try to, maybe they don't complete the work as they're supposed to, they leave it in violation and things of that nature. Also, if you're doing the work on your own, oftentimes people think, well, I'm just going to do this or that, and I'm not going to get a permit. We're trained in this kind of work to look at it, to protect you, even if it's protecting you from yourself, and to give you advice on what needs to be done and how to safely, effectively, and most of the time, less expensively complete what it is you're trying to do.
Right. And you can probably get that argument lots of times, like, this is my house, and if I want to do some work on it, I will. Why do I have to go pull a permit if it's my home? I can do what I want to, you know?
And that's true. We get that argument often. We get that argument from people, and that is true. If you want to do some work on your house, you can. And the City of Cleveland does not require you to have a contractor if you are doing the work on your home, because we respect the fact that many people are savvy and many people are handy and they can do it. However, the first and quickest and easiest answer is the law says that if you do certain things, you have to get a plan approval and a permit. Right. But the better answer from our standpoint is that our responsibility is to review what you're doing to make sure that it meets the code, to protect you, but also to protect your neighbors. If you're doing something on your home that ultimately could affect your neighbor's home, anything from installing a fence to building a dormer, to even adding some electrical outlets. If those electrical outlets fail, there's a fire, now we have first responders on the scene and your neighbors are at jeopardy. So our responsibility and our job is to make sure that the work is done in a code compliant manner.
Now what if I go ahead and move forward without filing any permits and you all find out? How much trouble can I get into?
Well, there's a considerable amount of trouble. If you work without a permit is a violation of the city code, and a violation notice can and will be issued, and ultimately there's legal prosecutions and things of that nature that can happen. But we really encourage people, it's the best for you and what you're doing to make sure that we're there. We feel that the reason that people oftentimes don't pull permits is not because they don't want to, or because they want us to. They're maybe not totally clear on when they need a permit. And I encourage everybody to go to the City of Cleveland website, and under the Building and Housing Department, all of our documents, when I need a permit, how do I register a contractor, how do I do all of these things, and the permits themselves in form are all on the website. Right. So I think people may not understand that they need them, and secondly, the cost of the permits for most residential, they're minimal. We're talking $50, $52 for a permit, maybe as much as $70, and then of course major renovations, the costs go up from there. But it's the cheapest insurance you're ever going to buy.
Now are your inspectors, are they out patrolling the area sometimes to see if there's construction going on at homes, and to check and see if the permits are being pulled?
Every day, and we oftentimes get reports from neighbors, and we get reports from tenants if for rental properties that work's being done or work's being done across the street. So we're out in the neighborhoods all the time, and we receive a fair number of complaints, especially this time of year when most of the work is going to be that outside work, and that maybe it's installing a window or a door or even a fence. Right. So we encourage people, it's a gamble. It's always a gamble if you decide to do something outside of the law. But we're in the neighborhood and we're there. But more than prosecuting or violating people, we're really looking to help them do it. One of the things as building commissioner that disheartens me the most is when contractors put themselves out, or people put themselves out as contractors and take advantage of our citizens. There's no reason for it, because if we educate ourselves on how to do what we need to do, it's actually quite easy to check if a contractor is registered, insured, and licensed with the city. And that can be done as easily as making a phone call to the Department of Building and Housing. All of our phone numbers are published on the city website. Okay. So call us. Even that, the argument is always from contractors, well, it's cheaper if you pull the permit. And that's code for, if I pull the permit, I'm responsible. If you pull the permit, I can steal from you later. Wow. And so for the cost of the permit, or it's cheaper if you just don't pull a permit at all. You don't need a permit for this. Well, then what happens, and this happens several times a year, where I'll receive a phone call at my office that says, I had a roof put on my house and it's leaking. Well, we all know leaking roofs are bad. Roofs' jobs are to stop the leaking. Right. And to keep the water off of our heads. But what happens is, so somebody will pay a friend of a friend to do it, and then we look in our system and realize there was no permit, and my answer is simply, there's nothing I can do. I can't help you. I can't enforce against them. The only thing I can do at this point is issue the homeowner a violation for work without a permit and having a leaky roof. Which is that was not the intent of their phone call. Nobody wants to make a phone call for help and end up with a violation notice. So if they come to us and get the permit and pay for that up front, then when that roof is leaking, then we do the inspection to see what was done wrong. Right. And we're hopefully they're calling and we're inspecting all along. so the roof doesn't leak.
Right.
But if it does, then we have a contractor and a person that's responsible, and then that's when you have the support of the building inspector, myself as building commissioner, and then the City of Cleveland Law Department, as well as Consumer Affairs, to bring the contractor accountable to it. So the $50, the $60 that you think that they've convinced you that you're saving, that's really not the case.
Absolutely.
You're giving up a lot for that.
Now a trend now is, of course, buying and selling and flipping homes.
Yes.
Some of these people who do that, sometimes they cut corners. And what if I, as a consumer, got into a lease with someone who flipped one of these homes and the home wasn't up to specs,
Right.
What can I do about that once I moved in and I find all these problems? Can I report that to you guys?
Well, absolutely. You can report any notice of violation. The City of Cleveland codified ordinances, we also have a provision that anytime a residential property is sold, the law requires there to be a certificate of disclosure. Okay. So first and foremost, when you buy the house, the seller should be providing you with a certificate of disclosure from the City of Cleveland that says all the violations and lists the violations on the property. If you do not get a document, and you must read it, oftentimes when we're buying homes, whether it be our first home or our 15th home, we're excited, we're trying, we just want to get it done, and there's a stack of paper that you can fill a filing cabinet with the paper you have to sign when you buy a home. Mm-hmm. And people robo-sign through these things. Well, one of those documents by law has to be a certificate of disclosure from the city. Well, I've had people, unfortunately, that have robo-signed through their documents and signed the document acknowledging that the house was condemned. And then they call me, a month later, 2 months later, when they've moved in or begin repairs, and my inspectors show up and say, "You can't live here because this home is condemned." Wow. And they say, their response, of course, is, "Well, I didn't know it was condemned." And then I provide with them, "Well, this is the certificate of disclosure that you signed showing that you knew it was condemned." So pay attention to those documents. And if you're looking to transfer or looking to purchase a house, any house, and you want to call the city building department to find out if there's violations on it, absolutely. I also encourage people to spend the money for a home inspector, shop around and find a good one. We as a city do not do pre-sale inspections or point-of-sale inspections. What we do is report any known violations that are on property, but we don't do point-of-sale. So pay that little bit of money that it's going to take to have a home inspector come in, especially, there's some great deals in the city on houses. And there's houses that, through whatever situation, have gone through foreclosure, and they've, they're up for sale for a pretty good price. And you can get some great deals with a little bit of TLC and elbow grease. You can have a great home in the city, but you want to make sure that you look to a professional to do a home inspection, because you don't want to find that the little bit of TLC and a little bit of elbow grease means replacing the foundation on your home. So.
Hey, that's some important stuff, man, and I want to thank you so much, Commissioner Vanover, for joining us and getting some of this information out to our listeners. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
In the long run, hey, don't cut corners. Get the job done the right way. Save you a lot of trouble later on. And when we come back, just as always, John Mahoney of the City of Cleveland Fair Housing and Consumer Affairs Office will join us to provide us with some more information. Keep it locked right here. TV 20, we are Cleveland. You're tuned in to Consumer Trends.
Our Better Business Bureau helped us avoid losing thousands of dollars to a loan modification scam.
My BBB helped me find a mechanic I can trust.
My BBB helped our company show support for high ethical standards in the communities we serve.
My BBB helped boost my company's online presence and brought in new customers.
Find out what your BBB can do for you at www.bbb.org.
Welcome back to Consumer Trends, and of course, as always, we have John Mahoney from the Department of Consumer Affairs here in Cleveland, Ohio. How's it going?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Can you please elaborate on some of the great information we got today about pulling permits and selecting contractors?
Sure. I urge everyone who does a major project or plumbing, electrical, things you don't know about, when you're going to get a contractor, get their references, speak to them, be comfortable with them, be careful of what you sign. You don't need to be pressured into signing anything right away. You need to check with the Department of Building and Housing, see that the contractor is licensed, bonded, and insured for the City of Cleveland. That way, if there's an issue, we can work with them. We can, take their bond away and help you repair what was not done correctly. So, a lot of times we get calls from people who just get someone down the street to do some work, and they may, want to help you out and do some things, but they may also be trying to take advantage of you and leave you in a spot where you've given them all your money and you didn't get what you were expected. So take your time. Give us a call at Consumer Affairs, give Building and Housing a call, and check on the contractor, because it's your hard-earned money. We don't want to throw it away and leave you with a leaky roof or steps missing or plumbing that doesn't work or something like that. So just be careful, ask for help, and we'd be happy to help you with that.
All righty, like I said, it's spring and summer, time to look good, time to impress your neighbors. But when doing that, remember the very helpful information that we have shared today, and you will have a well-planned and executed home project. Thank you for joining us here on the City of Cleveland TV 20 Consumer Trends. My name is Errol Porter, and this is TV 20. We are Cleveland.